I don't want to wake up guessing. I want to wake up executing because I don't have time to guess. I don't have time to think that the heaviest weight in the gym is not the 50 kilo dumbbells. It's the front door, right? A lot of people struggle with just opening the front door. And this is so subtle. It's killing so many people, how they're not managing their energy in terms of their cognitive function. And thus they make bad decisions. I've been planning my days for nearly 4 years. I don't have to think about what I have to do in the moment because I've already scripted it before. My brain already knows. So therefore, my focus is targeted on the more important tasks. A system stands for the following acronym: saving yourself time, energy, money, stress. I'll repeat that again. Saving yourself time, energy, money, and stress. That's what a system does. It saves you time from wasting it on things that don't really require for you to do it again. And that is where you save time, energy, money, and stress. When you build a system for repeatability, you don't waste energy by doing it again. You don't. You build something that is going to repeat even on its worst days. And by the way, guys, we are humans, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in a weak manner. We're going to have weak days. We're going to have days in which they didn't go our way, and we can count them. We can count multiple days in which we have this, right? But building a system for repeatability is probably one of the best things that an individual can do in order for him to reap consistent results in his day-to-day lifestyle, right? And alhamdulillah, from my experience, building a system for repeatability has allowed me to see development even on my worst days. Even on the days in which I literally cannot function and I don't kind of, see myself finishing the day in the best way possible, I still somehow get something done because of the system that I've created that has been built for repeatability, right? So as I mentioned here, the core idea of this whole concept is that you want to be turning one-off discipline into repeatable structure that holds up under pressure and low motivation. These are the moments in which will come more than the successful days, by the way, right? Naturally speaking, the worst days will come more than the successful days because this is how, subhanAllah, things go, right? We will delve into more of the term entropy, E-N-T-R-O-P-H-Y. Entropy is basically the natural decay of anything over a specific period of time. So for example, I got a haircut yesterday. My haircut will expire in about 1 week and a half. Right? That's entropy. That's a natural decay of something over an X period of time. The same thing with your day and the same thing with your lifestyle. It will naturally decay over a period of time. So what you need to work on is having a system for repeatability, where even whilst you are seeing this decay in your day-to-day lifestyle, you are still maintaining some type of level of development in which you are seeing incremental steps in your day-to-day mundane lifestyle, right? So one of the things that a lot of people kind of struggle with is waiting for the perfect moment to be disciplined, or waiting for a moment so they can be disciplined, right? They want the stars to align and things to go their way for them to be able to be disciplined or be consistent in something. You don't want that, guys, right? You don't want that. If you can build a repeatable structure in your day-to-day life, wallahi, guys, you will travel everywhere and you will still get work done. Now, this is not to promote the hustle culture. We don't want to be people that hustle, hustle, hustle. This is an incorrect mindset and it's actually against Islamic principles. The opposite of hustle, for you guys' information, is barakah, right? So hustle is doing things without thinking, right? You are continuously working. You're waking up at 5 a.m. You're doing, all of these kind of focused habits are not bad. 5 a.m. wake up, cold shower, run in the morning. It's not bad. But when you're doing it without thinking about where you're going and about not kind of taking a rest and stepping back, this is where the hustle culture comes in, right? So the opposite of hustle is barakah, and I can't wait to speak to you guys about this because it's a very beautiful topic that really will ground you guys in Islamic boundaries that will help you in your sales as well, inshallah, right? So nonetheless, shabab, this is the core idea, and I hope you guys understand what we're going to delve into, inshallah. So we are going to be mentioning, as I mentioned here, the 3D daily routine framework in order for you to build a system for repeatability. And in specific, we want to be able to build this system for your day-to-day life, right? This is the focus here. It's building a system on your day-to-day lifestyle in which you are running on autopilot without thinking about doing anything, right? So as I mentioned here, the 3D daily framework routine is built on 3 things. So you have number 1, which is document, number 2, which is design, and number 3, which is drive. Okay, so let's look at document real quick. Document basically is mapping things so you know how to work or where to work with, right? So for example, tracking your energy, anchoring habits to fixed events, right? Scripting if-then rules, which we'll speak about, right? These are things that you will script before the day comes in order for you to automatically do it without thinking about it, right? So when you document, for example, your energy, you will know when to do specific tasks, right? So that's just kind of a general rule of thumb for that first one. Design, right? So prep your space the night before, remove micro decisions and master the 2-minute start. We'll speak more about this as well in due time. And then number 3, which is drive, automate. When you can automate things, you reduce the friction for you to get something done and just do it straight away. Tamam? So number one, shabab, is document, right? You guys need to understand the importance of documenting your habits, your routines, and the things that you find about yourself during the day. This is so important for you to build something that is going to repeat itself on a day-to-day basis, because how can you build a system for repeatability if you don't know when your best time of the day, for example, is at? You won't, because you will always miss the best moment to work. That makes sense, right? So for example, here the first point that I popped is track your peak energy. Your day, brothers, is reliant on your energy. The more energized you are, the more you will get done. But the less energized you are, the less you will get done. So it only makes sense that an individual tracks when his energy highs and energy lows are, right? So as I mentioned here, note when you are most focused during the day and protect that window for your hardest task. So when you come to build your system for repeatability, you are going to be slotting the thing that you know requires the most focus in that window that you know you can do. If you pop, for example, a sales kind of mock call in the evening, and you know yourself that you are very tired in the evening because your energy has dipped due to the morning routine and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? No. Rather, what's best is that you look at your day and you track when is the most time that I am actually active and giving the best effort and quality in the sales mock calls. Okay, it's the morning. And I have seen this repeated pattern for a few days now, maybe a week, right? And then when you start to take your day-to-day lifestyle more seriously, then you start to pop the the mock calls every single morning. So then even on your worst days, right? For example, maybe you something didn't go according to plan, you woke up late, whatever the case may be, you can track back, you can get back on track, right? You can adapt, which is really important. A very important concept, brother, is that adaptability is the key to productivity. So if you are able to adapt, even if things don't go your way, then you are being a productive individual by making something happen from nothing, right? So this is very, very important, right? So in terms of energy, shabab, this is very important. I do speak about this a lot, so please track your energy. I'm doing this as well myself, in the sense where I will forever experiment with my life until I die. Because I am literally of the understanding, and I believe that an individual will never know how he works and operates 100%. I don't think so that an individual can get to that level. You will continuously experiment and see new things about yourself that you just never expected. So it makes sense for someone to always be aware, right? Okay, yes, I might be really active at this time, but I also find myself drained at this time. Why is that? Maybe it's due to environment, or due to my surrounding, or maybe it's my my desk setup. And there's so many factors. So you will always learn about yourself and be in experimentation mode. And this, when you're in experimentation mode, you're not expecting a lot from yourself. Does that make sense? You know yourself that you're experimenting and you're learning. So even if things don't go your way, you are learning something about yourself in that moment as well. So that is very important. So we said number one is track your peak energy, documenting these things on a piece of paper. What I recommend for my clients, for example, is that you get a blank piece of paper, right? Something like such. And as you go through the day, just pop what time of the day you find yourself really energized, right? At 10 a.m., I find myself really focused. 10 a.m., 11 a.m., I find myself kind of dipping in energy. 4 p.m., this is where I really need to take my sunnah nap, my midday nap, because I can generate energy when I get back on track. And when you see a rhythm, khalas, now you know that this is something that I should work towards, right? That's number one. Number two, shabab, is anchoring your habits. So tie new routines to fixed events already in your day so they trigger automatically. This is also known as habit stacking. So you're stacking a habit on top of something that you already did subconsciously, right? So for example, the easiest example for this, there's of a good habit, is salah. When you pray your dhuhr, asr, maghrib, isha, salah, this is something that you do without even thinking about it, right? So what you should do is work around the salah. Anchor your habits that you want to get done, for example, learning course material within the Rizq Rise, for example, doing your mock calls, maybe, for example, doing anything else in which you are interested in outside of sales. doing it around habits that you already get done, right? So for example, for me is I anchor my gym and my kind of physical development after Fajr. So when I wake up for Fajr, I am after the gym. And that is a habit that I found easy, alhamdulillah. For others, maybe it's different, right? Maybe it's hard for them to wake up for Fajr. So therefore they what? They do their gym at Maghrib time, right? Or Asr. So when I pray Asr, I go to the gym. So this is very important. And this makes it easy with us, right? What we are focusing on here is working with things that are easy for us to do. When we try to make things that are difficult for us, it becomes really difficult to make any habit a reality. So when you work with something that is easy, khalas, you don't have to go through willpower, to do it. As you mentioned before, that we want to be able to build a system for repeatability, right? So this is where making things easy comes into play. Tamam? And that links and it brings me beautifully to the third point, which is writing if-then rules. So scripting your actions before the day starts removing decisions in the moment. This is very important, brothers. I will keep on repeating this until I die. If you do not track or if you do not write things or plan your day or whatever the case may be, what you are saying yes to is the following. I'm saying no to planning my day, so I'm going to say yes to mental fatigue in the day. Your brain, brothers, subhanal khaliq, how Allah has created the brain is fascinating. The brain is created not to store, rather to process. So when you store an abundance of information, if you store a lot of scripts in your brain or a lot of kind of information in your brain and you are not creating scripts, if this happened, then this happens straight away, then your brain is going to go under prefrontal cortex fatigue, right? Which is basically the part of the brain which is responsible for decision making. That's going to go down and it's going to be very, very difficult to make good decisions. We want to be in a stage where our brain is so clear that we are making correct, good, decisive decisions, right? So the best way to understand, to do this, or to practice this practically is, as I mentioned, have a daily structure. Have a daily plan. You guys probably know this from me from social media. I've been planning my days for nearly 4 years. I don't have to think about what I have to do in the moment because I've already scripted it before. My brain already knows. So therefore, my focus is targeted on the more important tasks. For example, creating scripts, creating content, seeking beneficial knowledge, and etc., etc. If I have to think about what time I have to go to the gym when the day comes, that is wasted energy given to something that could have been scripted before. Does that make sense? Yes, Omar Habibi.
Yes. Say you have your day scripted out, right? And say like a unpredictable circumstance ended up happening
Yeah.
where you couldn't possibly add this to your day, but you're not really sure if there's enough value in it to actually replace something or maybe shorten something else in order to add this. How do you determine whether the value of that is actually like enough to be able to add that into your day?
Excellent. Very good question. Very good question. I think regardless, anything that comes to your brain that you feel like is of importance, even if it's 1%, you pop it down. You never,
If it's what?
even if it's low leverage or you feel like it's not valuable, put it down. As I mentioned before, you don't want to hold open loops in the brain. Does that make sense? The brain doesn't work like that. If you keep something in your head and you don't release it on a piece of paper, then your brain is going to make wrong decisions. Trust me on that. So anything that comes to your mind, even if you feel like it's not of high leverage, you never know, bro. Maybe you can build it up to something that's important. Your brain won't think about something like that unless it is of some significance. I do recommend that you pop it down. I'll be honest, bro, right? You're not gonna plan the perfect day the night before. That's impossible, right? It's not. You can't do that. What I like to see, how I like to see it, sorry, from the lens is you are setting an intention for the day. So you're basically saying in scripted form, Ya Allah, I have intended for the day the way I want it. But you, Allah, are the best of planners. So plan the day the way you plan, or plan the day the way you have prepped the plan to be, because you're the best of planners, right? So what this does as well, Omar, is that when the day comes, and for example, things don't go your way, you are satisfied that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you what He has planned for your benefit, type of thing. When the day comes and you get ideas and you get kind of thoughts in your head, okay, maybe this, I should do this, pop it down, there's no worries. I actually do that. I actually I spend more time fitting the day during the day than planning it the night before. That's just to show you that you will never plan the perfect day. You will set the structure and the backbones of the day, but then the day will take its shape when you actually are in the day. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so when you're planning it, then do you actually like jot down every single specific event you're gonna do at this time and then you adjust it on time, or do you just set the frame? Is that what you're jotting
Yes,
down?
so you set the frame. So for example, what I start off with when I plan my day is I see what meetings do I have. Do I have any time restricted meetings? Because this is kind of a structured, it's like Salah. Salah is time restricted, right? You've got Fajr at this time, you've got Dhuhr at that time. So it's time bound. You can't change that. So you put that down For me personally, I don't put salah because salah is already strict and it's already embedded in my system. But I put time-bounded events, like for example, this call has been planned in my journal since yesterday because it's time bound. So therefore I'm working around it, and it makes it easy for me to work around the call by doing tasks that I have to get done, and it also forces pressure. Now, yes, someone can say I can just have it in my head, right? I know that I have a meeting at 7 p.m. Habibi, I won't go for it. That's not a good way to think about it, because trust me, you will get confused on what you have to get done. If it's on a piece of paper and it's there holding you accountable, the level of taking action, of doing the task that you have to get done in the morning before your call at 7 p.m., for example, will be more likely than if you don't have that 7 p.m. call scheduled in your daily journal, the physical paper. So that's what I'll say about. So I'll start off with the kind of time-bound events, and then I'll pop in the things I want to get done. For example, if it's Quran, I pop in Quran in the morning between Fajr and Dhuhr. That's kind of the barriers that I have in. And then I pop, if I have training, I'll put that there as well. And then I put, for example, any other things. Like for example, today I put down I have to record 2 to 3 reels for my Instagram. I also have to follow on a app development project that I'm working on, so I done a follow up on that. And then I had a meeting at 11 a.m. So I had to get my Quran, the reels recorded, and the follow up before my meeting at 11 a.m. That forced the pressure for me to get those stuff done, and made me wake up early, because I scripted those actions the day before. Does that make sense? See how it makes it so easy for the brain just to like, boom, get straight into a type of thing. Does that make sense? Jameen. And if you find this video useful, click the subscribe button. We put out content like this regularly, practical habits, real structure, and most importantly, rooted in Islam. It's free and it takes 2 seconds. Hit the button now and you won't miss anything. Okay, so the step 2 is design, right? Design. So this is very, very important, brothers. Amongst the main things of building a system for repeatable action is designing your workspace, guys. If you don't design an environment that allows the desired behavior to become the easy behavior, then how can you build something that repeats every single day? If you fail to plan, then you've planned to fail. I'll repeat again, if you fail to plan, then you have planned to fail, right? So one of the things that I really, really found works best for me is that I prep my space. I set up my environment the night before, so the first move requires no thought. I don't want to wake up guessing, I want to wake up executing, because I don't have time to guess, I don't have time to think. You know, I mentioned it before in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. He mentioned that there's people that will sleep in their gym gear. Omar, imagine you went to sleep in your gym gear, bro. That's crazy. And you wake up and you do straight away, bro. That's not realistic, but people made it so easy, or want to make it so easy for themselves just to wake up and just get to it straight away, that they will go to that extent, right? So this is the importance of what? Making things easy, right? And building a design or building a system for repeatability is very reliant on your environment, on your space, right? So that is number 1, prep your space. One of the main things, brothers, is your environment, your room. If you're working from your room, I am telling you from experience, if your room is the same for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you will eventually be bored, and you will eventually see no development in your kind of self. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? That's how I say it. If you don't change your environment, you're not going to change your outcome. So small things, brothers, maybe make it a bi-monthly thing or every monthly, where you kind of change your structure of your room. Change the desk, put it somewhere else. Change the monitor, get a new one, right? Save up and maybe change your chair. Just change something in order for you to see change in your day-to-day structure, right? So this is very, very important, brothers. One of the things that I really found beneficial is scheduling these moments of change. I like to do it every single month. Excuse me. I like to do it every single month. Once a month, I change my environment, and then I see some mad productivity come out of nowhere. If you find that difficult, then change your actual environment. Actually move to a cafe, or work in a cafe, or do something else, right, in a different location. Therefore, you will see yourself being more productive and not in the same loop, right? Okay, so as I mentioned, prep your space, design your environment, live by design and not default, right? Number 2, brothers, is remove daily choices. So this is reiterating what I said before, planning your day. Eliminate micro decisions to save mental energy for what actually matters, right? I mentioned before the study by Dr. John Sweater. He coined the term cognitive load, and basically determines, or it's speaking about how the amount of working memory, within a specific period is between 5 to 9 pieces of information. So you cannot withhold any thing more than 5 to 9 pieces of information. So what that means is that you want to eliminate the smallest kind of subtle decision by planning it or execute or delegating it, right? Or removing it in totality. This helps, brothers, with better choices, with better decisions, and better execution in a general sense. You guys don't understand. This is so subtle. It's killing so many people. How they're not managing their energy in terms of their cognitive function, and thus they make bad decisions, right? So remove daily choices by planning before, deleting things that don't have to be done, right? And just doing the things that actually matter, right? One of the things that I really find annoying during the day is, for example, as I mentioned, when I don't know where I'm going to the gym, I plan or I guess when the best time to go to the gym in the day that is present. You usually don't make the best decision, bro. It usually doesn't happen unless your day is completely free and you've got nothing there, okay? But in general, if your day is packed and you want to scut the gym in a way where, you know, you'll benefit from, it's going to be very difficult. You're not going to make the right decision. So please, plan it, remove these small kind of distractions with the mind making decisions, because trust me, you will see change in your day-to-day life, right? And you will live by design. You will not live by default. You will live with purpose, and you will live with a lifestyle in which it is me, it is intentional. As I always say, when you act with intention, you regret little. When you act with intention, you regret little, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, brothers, is master the 2-minute start. Focus only on beginning the task, and momentum will take over from there, right? One of the things when it comes down to building systems for repeatability is getting it started, right? When you get to the system, when you get to the day, for example, it's just getting started. One of the best ways, brothers, is the 2-minute start, right? The 2-minute rule: give yourself 2 minutes, start it, and you have fooled yourself to start something in which your mind restricted you to do. But when you started, momentum kicks in and you end up doing it even more. One of the things that my mentor, I remember he spoke about, is fooling your brain to run an extra kilometer when you say, at that pole, I'm gonna stop. The brain, when it gets to the pole, it will stop, but you will push and fool your brain to be like, okay, let me do one more. Does that make sense? So that is what you need to work with when it comes to designing your workspace and designing your work ethic, because the thing that a lot of people struggle with is starting or getting into something, right? As they say, that the heaviest weight in the gym is not the 50 kilo dumbbells, it's the front door, right? A lot of people struggle with just opening the front door because they find it very hard to master the first 2 minutes, right? And this is also something that James Clear speaks about, that there was one of his clients that he was working with, and he advised him to only go to the gym for 5 minutes. What the hell? What do you mean go to the gym? You're not gonna have a 6-pack and a tricep and a bicep and bleeding veins coming out from your forehead if you're going to the gym for 5 minutes. It's not gonna work, right? But when he was doing this in a consistent cycle, he built something that is repeatable and that does not rely on any type of emotion, right? He's gonna show up for 5 minutes, point blank. And then what? He built on it, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, until he built a structure which he's going 4 times a week. So mastering the first 2 minutes of anything will allow you to get everything done. So make it easy for yourself, right? We are going to be speaking about the 4 laws of behavioral change in more depth, but I want to mention it now just surface level, right? So if you are writing it down or writing notes down, this is very important. The 4 laws of behavioral change are basically behavior changes, right, within behavior science that allow a habit to be easy to do. So if you find a habit hard, or if you are doing a bad habit, right, these are ways in which you can eliminate these things. So number 1 is making it easy. When you make a habit easy to do, then you will do it, right? There's kind of no thought about that. Number 2 is making it attractive. When you make a habit attractive regarding its reward, then what? You will be attracted to do it nonetheless, right? For example, a bad habit that people have is, for example, eating bad food, junk food. But why is it so attractive? It's because of the aftertaste. They have linked them eating this food to the taste that they get after. So it's very important that you use this concept to good, not bad, right? But the opposite is true, right? We have make it easy, make it attractive, and then make it difficult. So make it difficult on yourself. The more you add friction to anything, the more you will not be bothered to go through it. I find myself, when I used to doom scroll a lot, is because it was so easy, right? Instagram is purple, guys. Like, what the hell? Like, think about it. Instagram is purple because they have made the app easy for you to get on it, right? It's attractive. It's right in front of your face. Like, come, right? So one of the things that I done, for example, is I made my whole screen black and white. So it's not attractive anymore. It's just a normal app. Even TikTok. You know what's crazy about TikTok? SubhanAllah. TikTok, the app cover is black, but there's the red and blue accents on the T, which once again is attractive to the eyes. They're very subtle. They're very cheeky, man. They're very cheeky with how they design the app in order for it to attract you and to pull you in, right? So these are the things that we need to be aware of, in which we are making things difficult for ourselves. So as I said, I made my screen black and white. I added the Opal app. I added the restriction. I added so many things that made it difficult for me to get on, right? And one thing, Ya Umar, I know you're gonna mention something. Just the law of behavioral law. Make it difficult and then make it unattractive. Don't make it pleasant. Don't make it something that you want to get back on, right? For example, people that start dieting and start eating healthy food, bad food eventually becomes unattractive because they're so used to eating healthy type of thing. So when you get used to yourself with the kind of the opposite of the habit that you're doing that's bad, then you eventually be retracted to the other, inshallah, right? Yes, yeah, Umar Habibi.
Yeah, so when it comes to like making your screen black and white,
Yeah.
would you want to make everything black and white, or just the stuff that's actually gonna be like wasting your time if you scroll on it? Like, for example, like we have this obviously school app. Would you want to make that black and white too, just along with everything else, or not really?
Look, I think regardless, even if you have school black and white, I think is good. I think what this does in terms of like the subtle benefits that making your screen black and white does is it doesn't make you jump on something straight away. You think about it before you get on it type of thing, right? Because you're not attracted. Like I found myself, for example, when it comes to Instagram and TikTok and all these social media platforms, I get on it without even thinking about it. Like I just get on it because like the color attracted me type of thing. So my point is that when you make everything black and white, you become more intentional with getting on the app. Does that make sense? So you are requiring something because you have given it a thought process. Exactly, well done. So you have thought about it twice before you got on the app in order and sorry, in result, you get what you want and you get out, right? So it's just a psychological thing that I find really benefits me and I really recommend it to everyone, inshallah. Sound good? Beautiful. Barakallah, habibi, ahsant. So this is step 2. Does that make sense, brothers? So we want to live by design. In order to build a system for repeatability, you have to design it. You are the architecture of your life, brothers. After Allah's permission, you can design your life to make the life you want to live, the life that will be of reality. So when it comes to building a system for repeatability, you want to design your life for the system to say yes. Okay, let's get to the last segment, which is drive, right? Step 3 is drive, which is more so automate. To build a system for repeatability, we mentioned what? That it saves yourself time, energy, money, and stress. One of the main things is that a system helps you save time. So when you, for example, have digital triggers, right? Having automated alarms, smart reminders, this allows the system to come to life. And as I said before, in the 4 laws of behavioral change, it makes it easy. It makes it attractive, right? So another thing that we can add on to the kind of digital triggers or the triggers in general is having your journal, if you are using your journal for daily planning, visible in front of your face. So then it is automated. When I do this, I do that, right? And that makes it very easy, brothers. When you automate your life becomes easy to go through. But when you have to go through friction in order to make your life the life that you want, then it's going to be difficult to go through. Now, at the start, when you're getting into this, there will be barriers. It will be difficult. But as I always say, every single master was once a disaster, right? So work with building something in the foundation level in order for you to build on top of it by having something automated, right? Another, a very small thing when it comes to like your work with maybe sales or reviewing your sales calls, having a system that can automate AI or use AI to track or to give you feedback according to your mock calls. That could be a system that can make you always want to do mock calls because you've built something that allows you to give you feedback instantly. So these are examples of automating your life, making things easy for yourself from your daily routine to your work, and so on and so forth, right? I know people that, for example, they have a habit or they struggle with waking up for Fajr, right? So what they do is they have an automated system on their phone using an app that triggers an alarm. And for you to dismantle this alarm, you have to solve a math puzzle. Imagine it's 5 a.m. and you're trying to solve a math puzzle in the morning. Like, what the hell? That's difficult, right? But since they've automated and they've made an automated trigger that makes that a routine, khalas, the system is built for them to wake up every single day for Fajr, right?